Hello there.
Why are the prequels so good for making memes? At first I thought it was just the awkward dialogue,
I don't like sand.
but then I realised there's so many shows that have weak writing that never generate an online following. Shows that are poorly received by fans and quickly fade away. In fact, initially when the prequels were released, this was just a reaction. The fans felt that some of the new characters were too goofy, only really meant to appeal to children and to boost toy sales. Others criticised the heavy reliance on CGI, a very new technology at the time that George Lucas wanted to push to its limit. While it was groundbreaking at the time, looking back at the introduction of fully CG characters such as Jar Jar Binks and Watto, they seem a little off. Some scenes on Kamino seem just too clean and bright, a touch digital to look convincing. This contrasts to the use of practical effects such as scale models and real-life stunts done in the original trilogy. Even though they're often far more expensive than their digital equivalent, these effects make the originals have a more gritty and realistic feeling than the prequels. Just think of the exterior of the Millennial Falcon compared to Padme's all-chrome ship in Revenge of the Sith. Other complaints centered around the slow pacing of some of the films and the awkward romance that develops between Anakin and Padme. The backlash was so severe that Lucas ended up selling the franchise to Disney for slightly over $4 billion in 2012. So what happened? Why did the fans start coming back to these movies and making memes about them? I think one of the reasons for the resurgence was the characters. I mean, who can forget General Grievous's cough, Obi Wan's one-liners, or Ian McDermott's Palpatine?
I am the Senate.
It's the one thing that Star Wars always managed to do right, to create iconic characters that stand out, that stick in your memory, that manage to inspire a sense of wonder even in adults. Take General Grievous for example. He only has 6 minutes of screen time in the prequels, and yet he manages to make such a lasting impression. I remember when I first saw Revenge of the Sith, I was shocked. I'd just never seen anything like it. And I'm not the only one that has fond memories of the prequels. A whole generation of Star Wars fans grew up with them. Attack of the Clones of the Phantom Menace might have been their first introduction to a galaxy far, far away. And I think this sense of nostalgia, this sentimental feeling for the past helps us understand why the prequels have seen a resurgence in popularity. When we grow up with a series, we're bound to be less critical of it, more accepting of its mistakes. But there's more to it than that. There are several TV shows and films that have memorable characters that just don't have the same sort of online following. So what made the difference? I think it's that the characters have such relatable lines and reactions. They can be put into so many situations in an entertaining way. And at the end of the day, that's all you need to make a good meme. You know, before The Mandalorian came out, I thought to make a good meme you needed the characters to speak so that we could form an emotional attachment to them, to relate to them. But then Baby Yoda came along, and I have to admit that I was wrong. I mean, this thing is a meme machine. It's so cute, it's so relatable, it's so entertaining, and yet he never speaks a word. So in the end, why are the prequels so good for making memes? I think it's a mix of the nostalgia we feel for movies we loved in our childhood, the iconic characters that George Lucas managed to create, and the amazingly relatable lines and emotions that the characters go through. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, definitely check out the prequel memes subreddit. Very funny, very on topic, and consider subscribing if you're new.
Do it.